Okay, I'm going to start my talks on, this is now to do with particularly the pandemic and all these things to do with the pharmaceutical companies and the laws. Same thing, there's so much to say, but I've got to start somewhere. By the way, these gloves, they don't mean nothing, they're just soft gloves. I'm always fixing or doing things, and I bang me back of my hand, my thin skin's getting that thin, so I just wear them, and sometimes I forget, sometimes I just have them on, there's no big deal. So anyway, now this is to do with pharmaceutical companies, and yes, I've got a lot to say on pharmaceutical companies, and the things I've got to say about them, what I just want to make you aware of if you're not aware of them, right up until today again. I'm going to just say one thing now, and I'm going to give you several things that I know about them that a lot of people don't know. The sad thing is, of course, all the people in authority do know these things, but they don't tell you those things. They will just tell you that everything is hunky-dory. They don't teach you these things at school. They don't teach you these things. So anyway, this is a term in the pharmaceutical company. The term, it's called ghostwriting. So all the things that I sort of really I learned from about 3 years ago. So, and I learned out of books. I like to get a book with an author's name and the publisher. That's what I like to get. And everything that I'm basically saying and all that is well before this COVID thing. When this COVID thing hit, I sort of predicted basically pretty well what was going to happen. I never predicted how the police would act in the city where I live, Melbourne, Victoria. But I'm not surprised. So anyway, this is now one of the subjects on pharmaceutical companies, but I've got several. I don't know if you know about this. Some will, some won't. It's just sort of to explain what really goes on. Okay, ghostwriting. Ghostwriting is the most hideous practice. This is when a pharmaceutical company is releasing a new drug. An article will be written about the drug, concerning the research, its findings, etc. The article that will end up in a well-known, respected medical journal under the name of a professor, a scientist, that is also well known and respected. The information will downplay any negatives with the medication, while at the same time exaggerating the benefits. Overall, recommending this new drug to be used, basically sanctioning its use. The problem here is the author of that article, the scientist or the professor who has his name on it, did not write it. The scientist or professor may not have hardly even looked at any papers or studies, laboratory tests and outcomes whatsoever of this new drug. He or she was simply paid a fee to lend their name to the article. Does this mean that a professor, a pharmaceutical company, a medical journal may be more interested in making money than they are in your health? Well, it looks that way. What makes it worse, most of these ghostwriting incidents, they don't get exposed. The pharmaceutical companies keep all their files private. It is only under litigation in the courts, in other words, when something goes wrong with the drug, they are forced to bring out different information. There's only litigation in the courts that this ghostwriting is forced out into the open of the courtroom. When the so-called lovely wonder drug, which was going to help and aid a person's disease, not only did not help them, but in fact harmed them. Of course, this takes years to play out. The drug company makes billions. The end result of the serious harm or death to the people who took the drug is of no concern to them at all. The only concern is the money they'll have to pay out for being found guilty. This amount is usually insignificant compared to the money they have made from that drug. Does anybody go to jail for the harm or death they have caused? The answer is basically no. Nobody goes to jail. The CEO of the pharmaceutical company? No. The professor selling his name? No. The publisher of the medical journal? No. The paid communicator between the ghostwriting, the journal, and the pharmaceutical company, the ghostwriter themselves? All were in on the act. They all knew what was going on. All knew it was very dangerous. But no, none go to jail. This is why it's been going on for years. This is not the new thing that came up last week. And is going on right now. Everything is so sick about this. I have to say a little bit more. How it works, these highly respected medical journals come out all the time, are distributed to universities, doctors, hospitals, professors, etc. They also contain advertising of all things, different medical things. The publishers make money this way. They have all advertisement of all different apparatus, all different things to do with medicine, so they sell the advertising, so that they have the journal, that's how they make money. But they need content, as in an article written about a new drug by a professor. And so on. The funny part is the main purchasers of these journals, which get sent out all over the world, are the actual pharmaceutical companies. So they buy all the journals. So they know they're going to sell the journals, and because they're going to sell all the journals, all different people advertise their medical products in the journals. So they make that money and they're going to sell them, but the pharmaceutical company buys them. The pharmaceutical company then distributes them to all the universities, the doctors, the hospitals. So the main purchasers of these journals, which are sent out all over the world, are actually the pharmaceutical companies themselves. They then distribute them, so the publisher plays ball, obviously. Yeah, we'll put your story in, then we'll get all the ads, and then you're going to buy them off us, so all the people know they're going to get distributed, and so it works like that. You see, an article that is authorised by a highly respected scientist or a professor or a doctor, like this, is worth much more than any advertising campaign. The medical world say, oh, this drug must be really good. Look who wrote this article. And to get some highly respected doctor or professor to write an article is much more better than trying to push it on a billboard or advertising it on television. I was actually reading a medical journal 3 years ago, and it didn't make sense to me because I knew that particular drug. It was an old medical journal, and then I started to delve in a little bit, and I found out this. I only found it out in books, though. So other doctors and people who are going to use drugs to suit a disease that they treat often say, oh, this must be good. And the reps go all over the world with these journals and leave them in doctors' offices, leave them in universities, leave them, push it. They want to buy this drug. It's all good. Look what the famous Dr. Harry, for instance, said. When I looked into this 3 years ago, I was shocked. I thought, my God, what a snake pit of human scum, all dressed up in suits, lab coats, professors' gowns. giving speeches and so on. So that's ghostwriting. How can that be that, how could that happen? I mean, if little me know about it, if I know about it, me, of course the people in the industry, the politicians, the regulators know about it, but it goes on. Why don't the politicians tell us that? And this is only one thing I'm going to talk to you about. They want us to believe that all the pharmaceutical companies are lovely and they make beautiful medications and they would never tell a liar. Well, if this was the only thing that they done, ghostwriting, that should send a shiver down your spine, because if that is their DNA, if that is how they actually work, what else did they do? Well, I'm going to tell you what else they do. I don't want to tell you what to think in the end. I only want to tell you different principles and what's going on. And you can make up your own judgments. But this, like I said, I'm only going to rely on the truth. And this is her. I tell Manaya, all this ghostwriting stuff, it's all available for you to check out. I got books on it and all that, but of course all this stuff is out there. But the politicians don't talk about that. Of course they don't. And we've got a lot to talk about politicians and how all that works. So anyway, that's all for this one, and we'll go on to the next one really soon. Thanks again.